Let's get real for a minute. Every hunter out there talks about precision, ethics, and respect for the game. But how often do we talk about choosing the right caliber? Not just what's popular or convenient, but what's truly responsible. The truth is, not all bullets are created equal, and some rounds have absolutely no business being taken into the woods. You might have heard stories about old-timers dropping a deer with a .22, or someone trying to get creative with a pistol round. But here's the thing. Those stories usually skip over the part where it didn't go so well. This project takes a hard look at the 5 worst hunting calibers ever chosen. We're not just talking about numbers on paper. We're talking about real-world performance, ethics, and common sense. From rounds that barely make a dent to cartridges that could blow your harvest clean off the map, these 5 calibers represent what happens when the wrong tool meets the wrong job. So, before you load up and head out, let's break down which calibers to leave at home, and why your choice of ammo says more about you as a hunter than you might think. Let's start with a round that every shooter on Earth probably has somewhere in their collection. The .22 long rifle. It's the most popular cartridge in America for a reason. It's cheap, accurate enough for plinking, has almost no recoil, and it's perfect for training beginners or taking down small game like squirrels, rabbits, or raccoons. But the second you try to step up from there, things go downhill fast. The .22 LR is simply not built for hunting anything larger. You're sending a 40-grain bullet at around 1,200 feet per second, producing roughly 120 to 150 foot-pounds of energy. That might sound like a number, but in the real world, that's just not enough power to ensure a clean, humane kill on medium game. Sure, you'll always hear that one story about someone's grandpa who took down a deer at 50 yards with a headshot. But those are exceptions born out of luck and perfect conditions, not something to rely on. Hunting isn't target practice. Out there, animals move, adrenaline kicks in, wind throws you off, and brush deflects your bullet. The .22 LR has poor penetration, and even the slightest bone or muscle can stop it short of the vital organs. What happens then is exactly what every ethical hunter should avoid: a wounded animal that runs off to die in pain. From a technical standpoint, it fails the ethical test. From a personal perspective, I'll admit, I love shooting the .22 LR for fun. It's the first caliber I ever fired, and it still has its place for recreation, pest control, and teaching safety. But for hunting deer, hogs, or anything bigger than a rabbit, it's irresponsible. Most states even ban its use for big game, and for good reason. The .22 long rifle belongs at the range, not in the deer woods. It's a great teacher, but a terrible hunter. The .25 ACP is a vest pocket pistol cartridge, born in an era when deep concealment mattered more than terminal performance. Typical factory loads push a 50-grain bullet at roughly 700-800 feet per second and deliver on the order of 60-75 foot-pounds of energy, figures that put it below even many high-velocity rimfire rounds. That performance translates to very poor penetration and minimal tissue disruption on anything larger than the smallest pests. And most readily available, .25 ACP boxes you'll find are full metal jacket target loads or light soft points that still lack the mass and sectional density needed for ethical medium game work. If you're shopping for .25 ACP purely as a collector's cartridge or for a pocket plinker, it's cheap to buy in small quantities. Common retail pricing on 50-round boxes often sits around $20, $40 depending on brand and availability. I find the .25 ACP fascinating as a historical artifact. It represents a design trade-off that made sense for early 20th century self-defense guns, but that same small caliber mentality makes it laughably inappropriate for hunting. I've handled a few full metal jacket boxes at the range, and while feeding and function are usually fine, The idea of sending that round at a coyote or anything bigger makes my skin crawl. Personally, I'd use it for nostalgia or as a last resort micro-defense round in very constrained circumstances, but never for putting an animal down humanely. The .223 Remington and its military cousin 5.56 NATO is a remarkably precise, flat-shooting, high-velocity cartridge that shines on varmints and coyotes. Typical 55-62 grain factory loads are inexpensive and abundant, with many 20-round boxes retailing in the neighborhood of $10, $20, making it an economical choice for practice and predator control. However, the standard light varmint bullets used in most .223 and 5.56 loads are designed to fragment and dump energy on small targets. They lack the bonded construction, weight, and sectional density favored for reliable penetration on medium game. That means when hunters try to stretch the .223 into deer country, they often rely on perfect shot placement and luck rather than a cartridge with a comfortable margin for error. I respect the .223 for what it does best: long strings on a range, quick follow-up shots, and surgical work on small-bodied targets. I've used it on prairie dogs and predators, and it's hard to beat for that role. But as a dedicated deer round, I'm skeptical. In real hunting scenarios, wind, brush, moving targets, nervous shots, I want a cartridge that forgives a bit of human error. If that sounds like caution, it's because ethical harvesting should err on the side of certainty. If you insist on using 223 for deer, do the homework, pick premium, heavy, bonded bullets, and accept that many states or land managers may frown on the choice. Objectively, the .30 carbine is a true historical oddity, developed to give rear-line troops more firepower than a pistol without the weight of a full rifle. It sits ballistically between a pistol round and a light rifle round. Typical commercial loads push a 110-grain bullet around the 1.900-2.000 FPS mark and produce somewhere in the neighborhood of 800-1000 foot-pounds of energy, numbers that place it below the generally accepted ethical floor for deer in many expert opinions. Ammunition is less common than for mainstream rifle cartridges, but you can still find 50-round boxes or small packs from several manufacturers. Prices vary widely because availability is spotty. But expect to pay a premium versus common rifle cartridges when stock is low. I enjoy E30 carbine for its retro appeal and because an Monet carbine is simply enjoyable to shoot, but as a practical hunting tool, it feels undergunned. In close brush, it might reach vitals on a smaller deer with a clean shot, but the cartridge doesn't give you a margin if things aren't perfect. For hunters who prize historical authenticity and shoot on private land where they accept the risks, it's understandable. Just don't pretend it's the safest, most ethical choice for large game. .50 BMG is in a category of its own. An anti-material, long-range cartridge designed to defeat equipment, not to harvest game. Ballistically, it's gargantuan. Heavy bullets at long range with muzzle energies measured in the thousands of foot-pounds. And retail prices reflect specialized manufacture and low demand for hunting applications. Typical commercial match or surplus boxes are sold in small counts, often 10 rounds per box, and per round cost routinely ranges from about $3 to $6 or more, making it an expensive cartridge for practice and absurdly wasteful on animals. Beyond price, the real problems are meat damage, over-penetration, and public safety. The energy is so high that a miss or a pass-through can be dangerous at extreme distances, and the blast and meat fragmentation from a hit would ruin large portions of an animal. .50 BMG fascinates me as an engineering marvel, but I cannot conceive of a morally defensible reason to use it for hunting. The thought of shredding prime venison with rounds designed to disable vehicles makes me uncomfortable. If you own a AF-50 for long-range target work or vehicle penetration testing, fine. It's a tool that does its job well. But in the context of hunting, it's beyond overkill. It's irresponsible.